Welcome to the Horr-Gasm podcast, the show where the serial killer isn't coming for you, you're coming for them. I'm Nick, and this is my co-host, Allie.
I'm drinking wine.
Thank you for joining us wherever you are. Podcast and wine, horror podcast and wine.
Yeah, I never drink while we do these things, but I just had kind of a long day at work, and it's a Monday, and I needed a little something, so it's just a little bit of wine. It's just a third of a bottle.
Just some wine to go through Horr-Gasm.
Yeah, that little bit of wine, you know.
Oh.
I like to be wined and dined before my Horr-Gasm, so.
Who doesn't?
Call me old-fashioned, but...
Who doesn't? I'm sure all our listeners usually have a wine or something to drink as they listen.
I usually listen while I'm laying in bed, because our podcast comes out, our episodes come out at midnight. So I usually listen in bed or at work the next day. It's like my thing. And then I enjoy it.
Cool.
Where'd you listen?
When I drive.
Driving?
Driving
Sure.
or shop, just when I'm out and about. Mostly, just throw on a podcast.
Of course.
Go shopping. Listen.
Yeah.
It's good for like background music.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, just background music and just sounds.
Showers, when I get ready in the morning. It's just something to have so that I don't have to think about I'm getting ready to go to work.
When I'm cooking, like breakfast, I throw one on.
Yeah, podcast or YouTube. But if it's that's why I like it for showers, is because I don't have to be watching.
Nope.
I can just have it in the room and with a little projector. Not a projector. I set it against the wall so it amplifies the sound. It bounces the sound from the wall back into me. And it's perfect.
Amplifies
it.
Speaker. Non-speaker
Life hack.
speaker.
I enjoy it. Yeah. When I'm cooking, I like to watch YouTube sometimes or listen to a podcast. Because you can really zone out.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I love podcasts. That's why I love doing this. Gives people something to do.
So much fun.
Yay. Speaking of listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
You came up with something exciting.
Well, I was thinking that all of our listeners can't be just known as listeners. We need like a name for them. I guess we can't really say you people. That's kind of a little...
Can't say that anymore.
That's taboo now for some dumb reason. Also, I can't really call our listeners the horrors for Horr-Gasm. That's just very, very disrespectful and rude. And...
That's awesome.
I'm pretty sure everyone listening don't want to be called horrors, so I'm not going to call them horrors. I'm thinking we call our listeners our victims.
Yes, and I liked it.
It works. They're victims. They're victims of Horr-Gasms.
Exactly.
So all of you listening, you are now our victims.
You're the victims of a Horr-Gasm.
Yes.
Proud of you.
I like that. That's a gooder.
I think it is. I think it's a good one. Lots of people who have podcasts, YouTube, social media, they have a name for their... pet name for their listeners. I like the victims.
Yeah.
As a collective body.
But, maybe some of our victims have better names if they can. If they do, feel free. Message us.
Yes.
Tweet us. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever.
Yes.
Whatever you want to do.
All that kind of fun stuff.
Yes.
There's lots of ways to get a hold of people these days. Which we found out the opposite of that in the movie we watched this week. So that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, the 90s. They were fun.
They were.
They were. We were reading the trivia, and walkie-talkies was a big thing.
Yes.
Remember walkie-talkies? Yeah, walkie-talkies. I remember we had a pair. We used to have a cabin, and we had a pair, and we loved them. They were so much fun. I don't know, my sister and I would even lay in bed, and we would just, talk to each other with walkie-talkies. It was fun.
I had some toy ones.
Sure.
I had, the handheld, and the other one was kind of like a carry. You had, a cord with it, with the mic.
Oh.
And me being the dumb kid, I would put the mic to the speaker and I get the feedback. And I'm thinking, oh, this is so weird. Why is it doing that?
Why is it doing that?
That's weird. But, yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
So like you're saying, so our movie this week is The Blair Witch Project.
Sure is.
There's not a lot of good witch movies out there.
Exactly.
There really isn't.
No.
There's some good notable ones, like The Blair
Mm-hmm.
Witch. The sequels, the second one, not so much. That was kind of buried.
There was a second one?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's this Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Then they made a sequel, I think, a year later to kind of really capitalize, because it was
it was
big
huge.
phenom of the...
Was it found footage too?
No.
Oh.
There's a bit added in just to kind of keep it in found footage continuity with the series.
Yeah.
But it was a straight up movie.
Oh.
They kind of... It kind of went out of the main story.
Okay.
Basically, I was looking, like, from all the fans who were watching it, it was from their point of view. You had some people who were going to where they filmed the scenes,
right,
and acting like it was real.
Oh.
And turns out, there is actual Blair Witch, and it was found footage.
Okay.
Blah blah blah. People are there's a bunch of sheriffs and police telling people to get out of the woods because there's nothing out there. You're just causing problems.
Sure.
Huh. It's not the worst movie, but it was very different. They went a whole different way with it, and it kind of bombed.
Oh, that's too bad.
But the third one, the one that kind of recently came out.
I was gonna say it came out like last year, didn't it, or was it this year?
Last year before.
Was it?
Yeah. I think.
I just remember seeing the front of it. It's all red. Isn't the poster or whatever for it is all red with the little Blair Witchy thing?
It was like a mouth kind of like screaming.
Creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't... It didn't go with found footage in the newer one. They went straight up movie, where they kind of just they ignored the first one, more or less.
Ignored it completely?
Yeah.
Like they didn't even build off of it?
No. Basically, they took the idea, but just kind of skipped the first movie. Ignored the second one completely.
Right.
And kind of kept the same idea.
Okay.
But they just went and did something a little different. Like they kind of focused more on the witch herself. As opposed to people in the woods lost hearing shit in the woods.
So do we actually see the witch then in this one?
You do.
Interesting.
You do. It's a very blink and you miss it scene.
Right.
Again, it's the whole same idea where it shows the house, but there's a lot more to it. And there's a lot more, because it actually has a budget, they actually have effects. There's actually shit going on that's weird, like spooky, creepy.
Right.
I thought it was good. It was a good kind of reboot of the series.
Awesome. Because I thought it was a TV series, but if it's just a movie, I would totally watch it.
But no, like it really took off. Like they did the movie, they did like the sequel, then they had the games, then a bunch of games for PC, which kind of expanded the lore of everything.
Right.
And yeah.
I like the idea of that. I watched a Let's Player play part of one of the games, but it's kind of boring, and I know it's kind of like the Blair Witch, where it's a slow burn until the end when it gets like crazy. So that was kind of on me for just letting it kind of go, but maybe I'll watch it again now that I've refreshed my memory with this movie. But
right, I forgot there's that new game. Like
new game, brand new. Yeah, and it was kind of creepy, but it's the same thing where like the part that I watched anyways, it was like the part in the movie where all of a sudden you're running down a path, but you have a cute dog in this one, which I love. But you're running down a path, and then all of a sudden you see something weird, and you're like, oh, it's something that just kind of jumps out at you like a mark on a tree or something.
Yeah.
And the character keeps walking in the game, and then all of a sudden you keep walking, and you see the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's sort of the same thing where you're looping in the same sort of reality.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I didn't remember that from this original movie. But when you brought it up, I was like, we kind of talked about it a bit, and we'll get into it more when we talked about the movie. But it was kind of sort of interesting what I saw. But not enough to keep me watching, obviously.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try again, though. I know lots of Let's Players have played it on YouTube. So maybe I'll kick back into it.
Why not?
Why not? What else do I have time to do?
True.
Work, school, podcast, rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah. But like so we watched Blair Witch today. There's really there's not a lot of good scary witch movies out
Not
there.
a ton.
Like some of the most notable ones are The Witch, which you hate.
I can't stand The Witch. It's a flaming pile of garbage.
'Cause I didn't mind it. So it's set in like a more 18th century, and it's got a very Little House on the Prairie feel to it.
Yes,
of
it
all
does.
Things.
Yeah, like an old brick house or whatever.
Yeah,
Stone house
They got,
in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and they got all like homemade clothes and all that.
Right.
So I thought it had a good presence.
Sure.
There's talk of the witch in the woods, but nothing really comes of that except one scene.
Yeah, there's one little scene.
And just the
with
whole
the baby.
family. What?
With the baby, isn't it?
The baby dies.
It's still a baby.
And and like the kids kind of get possessed. Like the only one, like the main character is the teenage daughter.
Yes.
And just they all kind of blame her for a bit.
Yeah.
Well, the baby dies, and she kind of gets blamed for that.
Right.
But I like how the black goat, Black Tom, it was the devil.
Right.
And he gave the girl kind of a contract to escape, and she did. And she ran into the woods, and there's a bunch of other girls and women there who are witches dancing in the sky, and she just joins up there.
Yeah.
And I just spoiled the movie, but I liked it. It had a very creepy feel to it because it was set in the old times,
right?
When witches they were actually feared,
right? So, yeah, I just didn't think enough happened throughout to keep my attention.
I'll admit it's a slow movie.
It is very slow,
but
the ending is. But I can deal with a slow movie if the ending is worth it, and the ending didn't do jack shit for me in this, and there was not enough throughout to keep me interested. Not like the Blair Witch, where they find the sticks and there's the effigies and there's
every night something happens.
Yes,
something happens worse.
Yes, and I also struggled with the first Paranormal Activity because of that.
Yes,
sometimes. But even that was just a little bit of a thing. Even if Katie would just stand up and stare at Micah and just stare for like 6 hours, she'd just stand there. And it's just kind of like, ooh, normal people wouldn't do that.
The creepiest part of that movie for Paranormal Activity was they leave powder on the floor.
The baby powder?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
wake up and there's footprints and they're not human footprints. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I got some shivers on that one.
Yeah, and the witch didn't have any footprints for me. There was not enough to keep me interested. And then at the end, it's like, okay, so the whole movie, she's saying, I'm not a witch, I'm not a witch. And then, surprise.
Yeah. See,
I was just over it. By the end, I was over it. The best part was, spoiler alert, don't listen if you want to know, was when she, bludgeons one of her parents to death. She, gets in a fight with her mom.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's just, destroys her. And that was the best part. I was actually sending my partner pictures. And I was like, ooh, this took a turn.
If I remember correctly, one of the younger kids keeps saying that Black Tom was the devil.
The devil.
Or something.
Right.
Black Tom made me do it.
Yeah.
Black Tom's a goat, you dumb kid. So comparing The Witch.
Yes.
And Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Blair Witch, you have good, slow payoffs.
That's exactly it.
The Witch, slow, mediocre to poor payoffs.
That's it.
I still like both movies. You
Interesting.
don't. But they also kind of just have a different feel to them.
And that's it. That's like I'm saying, if the ending would have been something different or more like the witch, the other witch that we see earlier on comes and takes her or something. Okay, I would have gotten more into it.
How would you have ended the movie then if you were the director?
I don't know. It just feels weird that we spend the whole movie trying to be convinced that she's not a witch, and then for her to be like, you know what?
What would it need then? What would be?
What would I have done?
Yeah, just our armchair quarterback. Writing here, directing.
Yeah, I almost would have done. Have you seen The Ritual?
That's
with the English people.
Yes, that's a good movie.
That ending, kind of, where you actually get that payoff of seeing this weird creature.
Okay, yeah, bingo. Okay, I know what you mean.
That. Yeah, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know it's just, I wanted to see something scary, not just witches and dancing naked. Okay. I wanted to get something out of it. I don't know. I wanted to be scared more too, but I'm on this quest for this goblet of scare
of spooks
that I want to drink from. Never sleep again, but I've never watched a movie recently that
We'll find it.
I'm ready.
We'll find it.
I really want to watch Insidious with you because that one creeped me out. Didn't scare me, but it creeped me out. I think you'd enjoy it.
I'm sure I've seen it before.
Insidious, or it's the one with
Conjuring?
No, not with him. Not with Patrick Wilson, I think is his name. Then it must be Sinister. I get the two mixed up. With
I don't think I've seen Sinister.
we should watch it because I think you'd. It creeped me out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
not a witch movie. Paranormal movie, not a witch movie.
Some other witch movies, not so much a horror, The Craft.
Yes.
Which is, I love that movie.
So what's it about? I'm not even sure what that's about.
Three girls who are Wiccan. They pretend to do witch stuff.
Okay.
They're a coven. It stars the one girl who was Dorothy in The Return to Oz.
I don't remember that.
You don't? Oh, it's on Disney Plus.
Oh,
it's the creepy Wizard of Oz sequel with the we saw it. We rented it years ago and watched it. And it starts off when she goes back to Oz. She's being chased by these things called the Wheelers.
Oh.
And these guys on stilts with like rollerblade, like big wheels on each end.
Is it meant to be a scary movie?
No, but it's just creepy as hell. And they're wearing hats where there's like a face on the top. So they're looking down, you see a face. And they kind of pop up and they got these weird kind of like gaunt looking faces on them and they chase her. And they fall into the sand and if you touch sand, you become sand.
Oh my God.
It's on Disney Plus. Give her a look.
I'm writing it down if you can hear me. That's what I'm writing.
It's so creepy back when it first came out.
Yeah.
But she's in it. It's got...
when did it come out?
98,
90s.
97.
I love a good late 90s movie.
Basically, new girl shows up at school. Her and her dad just recently moved. She's a witch. Her mom is a witch.
Okay.
They catch her during class, just kind of staring at her pencil as it's on its end, rotating. On its own. She's just staring at it, doing it herself.
Weird.
And they kind of bring her into their coven, their group, and they start doing witchcraft. And like they do spells, like stiff as a board, light as a feather, where they lift the one girl up and then like with their fingertips.
Weird.
And then they just kind of drop her. But then they get the three girls originally get too into it.
Okay.
They do have their will done.
Oh.
And the one girl, Neve Campbell, I think. She's in it. She stars in it.
Oh, I like her. Isn't she from I Know What You Did in Scream?
Yes.
I'm sure. Later Scream, I think. But
like this
still
is like earlier than Scream. But she's got covered in a bunch of scars. And her make her will done is scars go away.
Weird.
So like she's doing all these painful like skin grafts, procedures and they just kind of like basically all her scars kind of fade away. Mm-hmm. And they kind of like they scrape off like scabs.
Yes.
And also though it comes back to if you do something wrong or do something kind of against the coven,
sure,
things come back at you times 3.
Ugh.
So there's her. There's the black girl who's a big diving. She's like that's her like her profession, but like her hobby.
Sure.
Like dive team,
mm-hmm.
and all the girls are making fun of her because she's black, of course, sadly.
Right.
And then you got the other character. She's kind of the more psycho, broken family, broken home.
Okay. So do they all have sort of like something against them almost? Like something that people make fun of them for?
Well, they're seen as like the
outcasts.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And a new witch girl comes in and they have like the... have to have 4 like each direction, north, south, east, west, and they get to a point where they commune with one of like the gods, like element gods, and the crazy one just loses it. Like she is gone.
Oh man!
And she goes after the new girl because they see her as like a threat. She kind of starts changing up her opinions of them and I want to break away and like no you're not gonna break away, we're gonna force you away if not kill you. Ew. And I love that movie. It's a great movie. I'm sorry you haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I haven't. I have it downstairs. You can watch it later.
Oh, there's also a really good episode of Buffy called The Witch.
There's a lot. There's a few
in the first season.
Yeah.
I love that one with the creepy cheerleading lady who all of a sudden bad things start happening to
Amy,
her when she doesn't get on the team, and it was good. It's cool.
Witchcraft becomes a big thing in Buffy.
Interesting.
Down the road. You haven't seen it yet. We're watching it right now.
But, we're in the process. Yeah.
It becomes a huge thing down the road. So it's also... And Lords of Salem.
Yes.
Is a great, great, scary witch movie.
Okay.
Written, directed by Rob Zombie.
Right, yes.
And it's basically about this band. Like, it's a group of guy and girl.
Is it... No, it's not the first one to the Spalding people.
No,
that's
no
the House of 1,000, right?
Yeah. No connection. Okay. Basically, they're on a radio station, and this group, the Lords of Salem, come up. Mm-hmm. And they play their record, and it's very satanic and very dark. And,
right.
They cast a spell on the one DJ woman, played by Sherry Moon Zombie, of course. Of course. And there's like a family connection between them and like her family years ago. Like they persecuted and like burnt the witches at the Salem trials, and like Lord Salem, it's set in Salem.
Right.
And it just kind of, that's kind of the base of the movie. It's
right.
a great, creepy witch horror movie.
Yeah.
And you got Rob Zombie, so he has a little extra, his flair is all over it.
Yeah, I like that.
So,
that's good.
Yeah.
I like Rob Zombie and watching his movies. I've only seen the Halloween ones, really, though. Just because I heard the other ones were, like, so creepy, and I didn't really get into horror until, like, last year. So I just stayed away from them because I knew how creepy they were.
I think his weakest horror movie would be 31.
Okay.
No witch, nothing paranormal, just straight up as like a slasher. They take people, they throw them into this house, and are being hunted.
Okay.
Think Running Man.
Oh, okay.
But no TV, no nothing, just for pure entertainment of these aristocrats.
Okay.
And they hire these killers after him, and it's not terrible, but it's his weakest of all his movies.
Sure. Yeah, I haven't seen that many, but we're going to do, hopefully, a Rob Zombie month.
Yes.
Coming up here sometime.
we're working on the date.
Yes,
we'll do
the month. Yeah.
The month. We'll do like a month of Rob Zombie.
Woohoo. And then we can really get into some of those.
Which will probably be, I think, the 3 Devil's Rejects kind of movies. And Lords of Salem.
Awesome. That's perfect for me. Good idea.
Yay.
Well, we've talked witch movies to death. Do you want to talk about the Blair Witch Project?
I think we should before we die.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
So, Nick, this week we watched The Blair Witch Project, which is a 1999 movie directed by Daniel Myrick. That feels right.
Sure.
And Eduardo Sanchez.
Yep.
I can say that. And this was recommended to us by one of your friends.
Yep, Tanel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's your best friend?
Yeah. Her and Tim get best friend status with
Yes.
And she's one of our loyal listeners.
Yep.
And she's been pitching me different horror movie ideas, and this was one of the ones that stuck. I'm like, well, we'll have to do Blair Witch.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Where did you first hear about this movie?
Well, I actually talked about it in episode 0 when we talked about ourselves.
That was feels so long ago now.
It does. I cleaned. I used to, when I lived with my parents, I lived in the basement. Like, the basement area was kind of my area. And I spent tons of time cleaning the whole living room area because I was going to have friends over. And then I thought, you know what? I've organized all these movies in alphabetical order. I'm going to watch the first movie that's there. And it was The Blair Witch Project. And I was like,
cool.
Oh, regret. And it was just me in a basement by myself. And I popped her in and I thought, okay, this was like the early 2000s and we didn't have good internet on our computer. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And it says based on a true story, and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm like immediately regretting all of my decisions. And I thought, oh, whatever. And I watched it, and the very, very ending, I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to sleep for a while. That's fine. Just, yeah, it scared the crap out of me. I had nightmares for weeks. Jeez. Weeks and weeks. Yeah, it scared the crap out of me. Because it feels so real. Because lots of the situations were ad-libbed anyways.
Well, when you're used to seeing movies and TV and everything in that certain aspect.
Yes.
And how it's filmed. And you come across, they film it with home cameras.
Yes.
Or something like that. You think, well, this is real.
Yes.
How can you, there's no movie magic. It's all, it looks real.
Yes. And you don't see what's the villain in this. They talk about it as this thing, but you don't know, is it big, is it small, is it black, is it white, is it green, is it purple, does it fly, does it crawl, does it walk?
And the funny thing is, you're supposed to see it.
Yes.
In one running scene, the guy who is filming behind Heather was supposed to pan left when she screamed, what the hell is there, what the fuck is that, what the fuck is that? He was supposed to pan left, see this figure in like white gown, white face mask, whatever. He didn't.
Yeah.
I think if you did, that would have changed the feel of this movie completely.
Everything. It would have changed everything.
Oh, yeah. I saw this when it first came out.
Oh,
I saw it in theaters. It's a funny story. Kind of funny. Me and my friends went and saw it, and right at the beginning of the movie, like maybe the first 5 minutes in, we hear some bottle drop in like the front right of the theater. We were at middle left.
Sure.
And people, it's probably kind of more rambunctious and whatever. But the owner came out and kind of kicked them out. So we kind of were distracted. Like this is during the whole they're interviewing people.
Oh, okay.
And so he boots them out, and we're like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny. Small town guy brings a beer, and of course.
Of course.
And we watch it, and at some points I was getting pretty creeped out hearing during the night scenes, you hear kids laughing and playing, and Josh just screams, and at the end we're walking home, and you know our luck.
Yes.
Mom's house and then theater downtown.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a walk.
That's a walk.
And it was dark out.
Yes, it was.
And so there's me kind of looking down the alleys as we're walking. I'm like, okay, I know it's a movie. I know this is kind of all make-believe, but creepy.
But that's the thing, is that we never see it, and we don't know what kind of provoked it. Yeah. So it could have been anything.
Exactly. And this movie really, it's almost perfectly, masterfully done.
Yes.
Using your own imagination, your own mind, everything against you.
Yes, that's exactly it.
I don't know any movie has been done so well.
We talked about it when I was in high school. We actually were talked to about it because of the use of the unknown. I forget which book we were studying in school, but my teacher brought this up, that this is a movie that deals with the unknown. You never see the bad guy, in quotations. Yeah. You just have to imagine what they are.
And people with the very active imagination.
Yes.
Like this is almost their worst nightmare.
Yes.
When you see physical, when you see something that scares you, you can see it. You can react to it. And you're like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, that's what I'm running from.
I can now deal. I can process this. But when you just hear stuff.
Yes.
When you know it's there but you don't see it, your mind starts running and racing, and it jumps to conclusions, and basically it goes to the deepest, scariest things in your mind, and it just pulls it up. Says, hey,
it's like, that's what it
what
is.
If it was this? What if it was that?
Yes.
And everyone's got their own different fears and beliefs and what they think it could be.
Yes.
So this just takes that and
runs with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm one of those people with a horrible wonderful imagination. And that's why I think it bothered me so much is even when I had a bathroom in my basement as well, and it was about 6 feet from my bedroom front door, like my bedroom door to the bathroom door. And I bolted for about 2 weeks because every sound was the Blair Witch. Every shadow was the Blair Witch for me. Every hook, like, with a code on it in the dark was the Blair Witch for me. Everything. Because it could have been anything.
And when I was young, after I watched Ghostbusters,
yes,
I had the same thing going downstairs. So
with that librarian, that was it.
That's
it. I can tell you even what it is, Nick, because it scared the crap out of me too.
When I go downstairs as a kid,
yes,
I go downstairs and there's like go left,
yes,
and there's a two kind of rooms. There's the rumpus room where I had the TV and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And there's the laundry room.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a door in the laundry room, but it was always open.
Yes.
And I'd have to run from the stairs past the laundry room door into the laundry room because it was dark in there.
It's dark and there's a bedroom and a bathroom.
Jump out and get me. I'm like, nope, I'm just going to run fast. They can't get me. Stay in the light. You're safe.
Run out of the cold room and chase you.
That
right?
Ugh.
Scary. And that's the thing is that it could have been anything. And it could have come from anywhere.
Yeah.
Because they would fall asleep and wake up and have stuff all over.
Yeah. And everything always happens at night.
Always,
when it's dark and you can't see.
Yeah.
And again...
And you're the most vulnerable.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this movie just, for such a small budget.
Yes.
For such a small idea, they did a fantastic job.
Absolutely. So well done.
And such a small cast. Like 3 main characters. That was it. We have... Well, let's go to main characters. We got Heather, who's... And I'll do actually their real names in this.
Yes.
Heather, played by Heather Donahue. Josh, played by Joshua Leonard. And Mike, played by Michael C. Williams.
Yes.
And, yeah.
It was great. It was you kind of got to know the characters and get their frustrations and understand why they're losing it a little bit when there's just such a core cast.
Yeah.
And, it's a thing. It's a thing.
We
should talk. I was like, I want to talk about it. I'm ready for it.
Let's begin.
Yes. So we start out there. We get the little disclaimer that there's 3 filmmakers that were making this documentary, and it's based on a true story. And does it mention that they're never found, or they found the found footage?
Yeah.
Yes.
They found the found footage.
Yes.
But they didn't find the filmmakers.
Yes.
And the thing is, that was the big tagline for the movie.
Yes.
Make it real.
Yep.
And people ate it up.
Absolutely.
They thought it was real, and I'm sure they kind of thought, well, maybe it's not real. Maybe it's a reenactment.
Yeah.
But this must have happened, and that, again, great promotion, great storytelling.
Perfect.
It just took off.
Yeah. Yeah. They put missing posters for the cast on their IMDb pages. It said that they were missing. Yeah. Like killed or missing or whatever. And
they called Heather's mom and said, we're sorry about your daughter. We heard she passed away. And she's like, no. This is a movie they filmed. Yeah. Oh, no, we saw it. We're so sorry. We must be... No, it's fake. It never happened. Yes. And as they were filming it, like the actors, they thought it was real. They knew what they were filming that was all, make-believe and pretend. But they thought that the legend that they made up, which was complete fiction, was real. Mm-hmm. And oof.
And, like, how else do you get your actors to convey that sort of fear and paranoia than to have them believe that it's actually happening? It's scary. Yeah. So we learn that... this Heather basically wants to make this documentary about the Blair Witch.
Yeah, I think it's for school or something.
Yeah, it's something. She's doing something. Yeah. Probably writing a thesis or something. And so they head to Burkittsville. We kind of meet them. They're getting ready.
They pick up Mike
and stuff, yes. And then they head to Burkittsville, which used to be named Blair, which I'm assuming is how they get the Blair Witch. And they start interviewing some people and asking, do you know what the Blair Witch is? Have you heard of it? And they get sort of scattered responses about like, oh yeah, I've heard of her, and that they talk to somebody, this guy sort of, who kind of, oh yeah, they take 2 kids, and one kid would stand in the corner while the Blair Witch would kill somebody or kill the other kid.
No, that was some guy who did it for her.
Yeah, he was like possessed by her or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I have his name here. I'll find it.
Yeah, but anyway, so what he would do was, while he was possessed by the Blair Witch, he would take 2 kids. One would stand in the corner while he would kill the one kid, and then he would kill the other kid. And the reason why was because he said he didn't like when the eyes were watching him.
Yes, like locals are, when they're asking questions.
Yes.
They told him of Reston Parr.
There, yes.
A hermit. Who lived in the woods and kidnapped 7 children in the 1940s, supposedly killing all of them in the orders of the witch. Orders of the witch.
Yes.
So she made this hermit who lived like in the mountains, kind of stayed by himself. She lured these children up there, and he killed them one by one.
Yes.
And he had them facing the corner because he hated feeling their eyes on him as he killed.
Yes.
Creepy stuff.
Super creepy. And then so they hear this story, sort of, and everything else they hear from other people is like, oh, it's just scary, blah, 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 kids go missing. And then they talk to this crazy lady. I forget her name. Crazy Mary, they call her or something.
Yeah, I don't think she was that crazy.
No. And they say, oh, well, what did you hear? And she talks about how she was fishing or something with her family.
Yeah.
She was doing something with her dad. And then she stopped to stare at the sky. And then she turned and saw this really hairy woman.
Yeah, she had like a shawl, took her shawl off, and
yeah.
she was just covered in hair.
Dark fur, like a horse, she said.
Like arms, torso, legs, it was just hair.
Yes.
And, yeah.
And they're like, ooh, okay. That's creepy. And then they talk about how she was being creepier or whatever, and talking about here she's a historian and a ballerina or whatever. So I think that kind of discredited what this woman was saying. They're like, oh, whatever. She's nuts. We can't take what she says as words. So they get to a hotel room. They drink a bunch. They're excited to start. They're kind of scared, I think, and excited to start.
They were excited. They might find something.
Yeah.
They don't expect to, but they want to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, they just want to do a documentary.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's Heather's idea to get out there, and I guess Josh is her friend, and Mike is just kind of a dude that they meet. They first meet.
I think they kind of hired him for just
right. He does sound
camera.
Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they rest up in the hotel room and off they go to the woods.
Yeah.
So as they're just getting started, they meet these 2 fishermen who are hilarious. And they talk about how the fishermen, they knew one of the people who was taking it. Her name was Robin or something?
Yeah, I have it here, yeah. They tell of a young girl named Robin Weaver.
Yes.
Who went missing in 1888. When she returned 3 days later, she talked about an old woman whose feet never touched the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Very creepy. So they're like, oh, okay, these people are more believable than Crazy Mary. And so now they head out into the woods.
Yeah.
And
they're heading for Coffin Rock.
Coffin Rock.
Which is where, I guess, a lot of the murders were taking place. I guess I forget how many people were kind of butchered and massacred there. They were laid out.
They were tied head to toe.
Yes.
And then their intestines were cut out, Heather says.
Yeah, like 5 men were found recently murdered in the 19th century. And when they went to kind of collect the bodies after, they were gone.
Yeah.
In only a couple hours, everything was cleaned. Well, not cleaned up, but just the bodies were taken away.
Yes. Yep. And so Heather could very easily find this Coffin Rock. But after this, now they get lost.
Yeah, they're going to try and find like a cemetery. Yes.
Yeah, they can't get a fire going. They're kind of frustrated. And then they kind of hear some noises. And it's their first night out there, and she asked Josh, well, what did you hear? And Josh says, well, one might have been an owl, but the other one sounded like cackling. And she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
and
sweet.
It was kind of, wake up, he got head out with the camera, and she's trying to, they kind of poked their head out the tent. The tent, and you hear, like, trees and twigs snapping all around her.
Yeah.
Not in one spot, like it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of freaking out a bit, and they kind of hop back in tent, I guess, and sleep till morning.
Yeah, and then in the next scene when they wake up, then they're lost. They're mad at Heather because they're lost. And she swears she knows exactly where they are.
Yeah.
But then Josh is asking her, well, does the Blair Witch exist? Do you think the Blair Witch exists? And she's like, well, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
And
they also find a few like rocks.
Yes.
Like 3 different rock piles around the camp, which wasn't there the night before.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Weird. And they this is when they start arguing. They're starting to get mad at each other. And it's
like they're trying to use the map and compass to go out, get out, and they're following Heather. Like she's kind of saying, "Nope, go this way. I know where we're going."
Yeah.
She had no idea.
No. And Mike's saying how he doesn't trust Heather now. He's not really jazzed about that, and they're crossing streams, and they're just having a heck of a time. And then these nights, this is when they start seeing the pile of rocks and stuff, and Heather says, well, Crazy Mary said something about rocks, but she was just going, like, she's just weird, so I zoned out. So do we ever find out what the rocks are all about?
I think it was just,
it's just a sign.
Like markers. Like she was, 3 rocks for 3 people.
Okay.
Things are going to happen.
Yeah. Leading other malevolent spirits to them.
Yes. And we got a bit of, discontent between Mike and Heather. Like, he's getting kind of pissed off that they should be on their way back home by now.
Yes.
And she's just being stubborn, kind of pig-headed, saying, no, this is where we're going.
Yeah, I know where we're going. Yeah. He's like, no, you don't.
After another night of hearing stuff, cracking around them.
Yes.
They're getting ready to leave, break camp, and Heather can't find the map.
Yes.
And her and Josh start arguing who had the map last.
Yes.
So they think, this is all just a big gag by Heather, thinking this is just for make her documentary better.
Yes.
And more interesting.
Yeah.
And we kind of find out a little while later that Mike took the map and kicked into the river.
Yeah. So he's like, well, you weren't using it anyways.
So
Wasn't
I
a
took
use.
that fucking map and I kicked in that fucking creek.
Yeah. And he's like maniacally laughing.
Yeah, he's kind of starting to lose it.
Starting to lose it pretty early on.
When I first saw that scene, I laughed.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the funniest thing ever.
Oh, I was so mad. I was like, I forgot that part. I was like, are you serious?
Like Heather and Josh just snap on him.
Yes.
Like they are livid with him for doing that.
And Josh is pretty ripped too. Like he's at Heather. He's mad at Heather for getting them lost, and he's mad at Mike for kicking the stupid map into the stupid river or the creek. And it's not pretty. Yeah. They're starting to get at each other a bit because I think they're getting frustrated and they're letting their frustrations get the most of the situation, right? Yeah. And it doesn't make anything better, but it's very human. It's very human to do.
Of course.
Get mad at, because you can't, the situation you can't fix. So you have to get mad at something.
You have to get it out. Like you can't just let it build up. You gotta lash out something.
Yeah.
Whether it be a tree or a map or your companions. It's a way to keep yourself sane. And
it's a recurring theme in this too, where they'll fight and fight. And then the camera will cut, and it'll cut to them apologizing to each other.
It's this nighttime, and they're together again. They got more of a unified force for the night.
Yes, it's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Heather says it the most, I think. It's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to.
I think it was Mike.
Really?
I think he kind of apologized the most.
She says it a lot, and it's always. I think it's because it's her behind the camera as well. She's always saying sorry because she fights with the 2 guys a lot.
She does. I think it's more Josh is a peacemaker, and then him and Heather start fighting.
Yes.
Mike becomes a peacemaker. I don't see her apologizing that much. She has her one little monologue near the end.
Right. But in the movie, she does apologize.
Not that much. It's usually. No, because she's so stubborn and set in her ways. She doesn't need to apologize. So to follow me, I know what I'm doing. I think she does eventually when they do apologize a few times. She's she agrees after.
Yeah, she does. But I mean, that's what I mean is she is apologizing.
But she doesn't initiate. It's just Josh who kind of I'm sorry, or Mike, I'm sorry, I tried to push you, and I tried I'm sorry too, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So they come to their next campsite, but before they set break camp, there's just all these stick figures everywhere.
Yeah, a bunch of effigies.
Yeah, and this is kind of like the Blair Witch symbol.
Yes.
Which,
it's on the front of the case.
Like it became like, it was kind of like the sign.
Yeah.
And everyone knows what it is. Now, but back then, you saw the Blair Witch little stick figure, you know what it is instantly.
Yeah. And it's so easy to make, so you can just...
Oh, yeah. I remember that Halloween. That was everywhere.
Sure.
Everywhere was Blair Witch sticks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's an easy way to harass somebody, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Mike starts losing it. This is when after this, he starts, like, completely losing it. He starts just screaming just to the world, please help us. Someone help us. We're right here.
Yeah.
And this is when Mike starts to break. Like, really break.
Yeah.
And it's, of course, right after the map sort of incident. So we already know he's not okay. No. And yes, so we get to camp. Oh, no.
And that night, they wake up and they hear kids laughing.
Yes. It's creepy.
That's creepy.
And I couldn't really hear it from where we were listening in the living room. So you turned it up, and then I was like, oh, regret. It's really creepy.
Yeah, I remember in theater, like, I was listening, because usually, because of the camera and they didn't have the lights on.
Right.
And there was no night vision. It was just black and white.
It's just black,
or black.
Mm-hmm.
And in theaters, you hear the kids laughing. I'm like, what was that?
Yes.
No, that's... Why are we here? Why?
Yeah.
Mistakes were made. Why am I here? It's just creepy.
Yes. Because the one thing you don't expect in the middle of nowhere is children running around and laughing.
Yeah.
Right? So they get out of the tent. They're done with this. And they run.
Yeah, because something
run.
starts shaking the tent, and they just bolt.
Yeah.
They bolt out of there.
Absolutely. There is no way they're sticking around, which is pretty good.
It's a good idea.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
And they kind of hide out for an hour or so until dawn breaks.
Till morning, yeah.
They got some sun. They go back to the camp.
Ugh.
And they find that all of Josh's stuff was tossed around and rummaged through.
Yes.
And there's this weird gooey slime on all this stuff.
Yeah. And it's all on Josh's stuff. And Mike, like, rips into Heather because she's videotaping everything. Because this is...
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Like, if I was in that situation, put down the damn camera, let's get out of here.
Yes. Yeah, why are you filming? And he continually says, like, why are you filming this? And, like, put it away. Like, they're all in distress. But she mentions it later that she uses it as a coping mechanism.
Oh, totally was for her.
Yeah, but she, like, Mike is losing it and, like, goes after her, like, gets in her face and the camera shakes and turns off. And then we cut to Mike apologizing and be like, I'm sorry, but, like, this is just ridiculous and we need to leave. And she's like, okay, we're going, as she's still videotaping stuff.
Yeah. So they decide to go back, to keep trying to find civilization.
Yeah.
And they go south. We're saying, keep going south, we'll find something. Yeah,
eventually we'll hit something if we keep going south.
They do. They come across a log they passed earlier.
Yes.
That day.
Yeah.
They crossed the log over a creek and kept going south, and they come right back to it.
Yeah, and this is when Heather and Josh really just, like, rip into each other.
Oh, I think right then Josh, like, he loses it.
Yeah, he snaps.
He's not so much snaps, he's just kind of given up completely.
Yeah, but he, like, in the scene just right prior to earlier in the day, he's like, he is broken down and he's just crying. And of course, Heather wants to go over and talk to him. And Mike is like, do not. Like, just let him have a moment.
Give him 5 minutes.
Give him 5 minutes just to cry.
Yeah, and she wants to keep going. She wants to get out of there.
Yeah. And so Josh is up in her face, like, where are we? And, like, like, this is a scene. Set the scene, Heather. You know, you're lost in the woods, and it's been days, and we haven't seen anybody, and set the scene. And she's crying, like, heavily, like, she's sobbing. Because I think she's starting to feel like, yeah, you know what, this might be a bit of my fault.
Yeah.
And poor Josh has broken and is now taking it out on Heather. So, and again, then after this whole part where he's losing it, Josh has the camera. And and we go back to him apologizing to Heather, like, I'm sorry, you know, I'm just kind of done. And
he really just kind of he films her like she was filming everything else.
Right.
You know, just zoomed in on her and she's just trying not to
hysterical.
break.
Yeah.
And he's like, so how's documentary coming? How are we getting out of this? How do you know what are we gonna do next? Where are we gonna go? Why is this happening? Like he's just hammering her on everything.
Yes. Yeah.
And she finally, she's had enough. She's like, fuck you. And he kind of walks away and she just breaks down.
Yeah.
And even Mike's like, let her be, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
Josh just doesn't. He's so fed up and mad.
Yes.
That what's going on.
So. And so after he apologizes to her for losing it on her, they talk about food.
Yes, I like that. Mike's like, I got a cheeseburger in my back pocket.
Yes.
And they just can't talk about it because they're out of food, I think.
Yes, they're out of food, they're out of cigarettes, they're, all the things you need to survive.
Yeah, they have water from the creek.
Yes.
I don't know if I drink that, but they are.
Yes, exactly. So
we have another night of just...
We don't have anything this night.
Because
when we wake up, Josh is gone.
That's right.
Yeah.
Josh is missing.
He's gone.
And they try and find him. They're yelling his name and...
Yeah, she's screaming. And she hears some noises that they think might be Josh. They're not sure. And they're talking a bit about, well, where did he go? Maybe he went to the river. No, but he'd hear us. And Heather's not sure. And Mike isn't sure. They have no idea. He's just gone.
Yeah, they left his stuff.
And I was just going to say, yeah, his stuff is still there.
And they do kind of a little look for him.
Yeah.
And they can't really find much.
Yeah,
and
of
they
anything.
kind of resort back to trying to find a way out.
Exactly.
And
they don't move to this day though. But I was reading the synopsis after, and it said that these couple days they're just so physically and mentally exhausted they can't go on. Yeah. They just can't. And obviously they've run out of food at this point, and they're just, like we already mentioned, and they can't. They're losing it.
Yeah.
They're completely losing it. So
they're starting to kind of comfort each other. I think Mike kind of sits down and he's just rocking back and forth.
Exactly.
And Heather goes and kind of sets the camera down to shoot them, and she's kind of sits beside him and just kind of holds them.
Yeah.
And then we get a very bad night comes up.
Yes.
They wake up and they hear Josh, who they think is Josh,
screaming
and moaning, kind of asking for help.
Yes.
And they're yelling, oh, Josh, where are you, Josh? And he doesn't really, it's like he doesn't hear them. He's just screaming as loud as he can.
Yes. And Heather says, oh, well, is that Josh? That's got to be Josh. And Mike says, well, I don't know if that's Josh, because if it was him, he'd tell us where he was.
Yeah.
So this is when I was talking to you while we were watching, and it's like, do you think it's like the witch just using Josh as
sure. I think so.
Right?
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, and just kind of embodying him to get them to come
find him. Look.
Yeah. Yes.
In the dark.
Yep.
And yeah.
So that's never backfired.
Oh no. And we get the next day.
Yes.
Heather wakes up and she finds this bundle of sticks tied around with Josh's jacket.
His flannels.
Yeah. And she's like, I don't want none of that. And she tosses it.
Yeah.
And walks around a bit, kind of breaks down a bit more.
Yeah. This is where Mike is, like, rocking in the fetal position.
Yeah.
And so she comforts him, sort of, and that's how they spend their day. It's just,
the morning,
being broken.
And she goes and she gets the curiosity kind of gets to the best of her. She goes and opens it up. And probably the goriest part of this movie.
Yes.
She finds, blood, like a bloody piece of his shirt, his flannel shirt. Opens it up, and there's, I guess, bone, teeth, entrails, hair, all of it bad.
Yes.
And she freaks out. She starts hyperventilating. And I think she has her breaking point right there.
Yep.
She packs up, and she's just so overwhelmed by everything.
Yes.
And she's at the point where she's almost like in denial.
Absolutely.
And Mike's, what's wrong? Are you okay? I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
What did you see? Nothing. I didn't see a thing. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Let's go home.
Yeah, she keeps wanting to, like, get out and move. Let's move, yeah. So this is when we get the iconic first person Heather talking into the camera with her nose running, crying, freaking out.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's been parodied on Scary Movie. Pretty well.
Yes, the parody, yeah. And this is where she starts apologizing to Mike and Josh's mom. She's like, I'm so sorry, this was my project.
Yeah, she like guilt.
Yeah, this is my full responsibility. Yeah, I insisted that we do this. It's all my fault, and and she says, and it really stuck with me, that she's hungry, tired, cold, and hunted.
Yeah. Hunted. And then all of a sudden she kind of looks way off camera.
Yes.
And so what was that?
Yes.
And just stares.
Yes.
To her right.
And she said she's scared to open her eyes, but she's also scared to close them. Yeah. Like she's just living a nightmare.
And then she kind of accepts, I'm going to die in these words.
Yeah. This is it for Heather.
It's the moment you kind of say that, you're fucked.
Yep. Yep. You've accepted it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while they're in the dark still, it's still nighttime, they hear Josh screaming, help me, help. Kind of what it was doing the night before.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, they grab their stuff, they each have a camera, and they just bolt. They just run to wherever the sound's coming from.
They start running.
Yeah, and they don't have any of their stuff. It's literally just them and their cameras.
Yeah.
That's it. And they find this dilapidated house.
Was this when she sees the witch? Or was that before when
That was before.
That was when the children...
That was the kids.
Right, okay. Yeah. So back when they're shaking the tent and they bolt out, that's when she screams to the left.
Yes.
What the fuck is that?
Yes.
That's okay. I thought it was after for some reason, but no.
No, yeah, that's a kid's part. And so they kind of wander around. They just start videotaping the outside of this cabin-y house thing, and they go inside.
Abandoned house thing.
This white house. And they start, they hear Josh. So they go inside, and they start wandering around inside, too. And they see all this, like, oh, man.
You got two cameras now. You got Mike holding the camera, and you got Heather.
Heather, yeah.
And we kind of follow Mike for a bit, and he goes upstairs. I hear Mike, he's upstairs. And as he's going up, he sees handprints on the wall.
Ugh.
And then he goes up one more flight. It's pretty, there's like probably 4 or 5 stories in this house.
Yes.
And there's runes and words, like a backwards 3.
Yeah.
And then he kind of hears Mike again, or he hears Josh again from downstairs. And he starts yelling, he's downstairs.
Yeah, he's downstairs.
Heather's just screaming Mike over and over and over.
Yeah.
And we see him go down the stairs, go down to the basement.
Yeah.
And then something kind of hits him off camera, and he kind of falls, and the camera falls.
Yes.
And as that happens, we hear Heather again just screaming, Mike, very shrill, high-pitched.
Mm-hmm.
And we cut to her point of view with the camera. Yes. And she's falling down the stairs.
Yeah.
And just she go down, she looks around, you see Mike in the corner, facing the corner.
Yeah.
And she gets knocked out, her camera drops, and that's it.
And that's it.
That's the movie.
That's the whole movie. There's nothing after that. No music, no nothing. It's a couple seconds of just her camera, whatever. We don't even see anything. It's just blurry camera, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's such a weird ending.
Yeah. It is.
And I guess it's a callback to the one story about the guy, the hermit who killed the children that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess when they found a bunch of different endings, of Mike hanging by a noose or surrounded by little stick figures.
Yeah.
I guess this was the ending they went with was the original idea.
Right.
But
it's so much scarier. Because it's still that unknown.
They had to go and refilm the guy talking about the the hermit.
Yes.
Just to make it kind of connect.
Makes sense.
Which good they did. Because if you know about that, you're like, why is he facing the corner?
Right.
Why is that happening?
But it gives it that element of it could be supernatural. It could be, the Blair Witch. It could be this hermit probably not still living there because wasn't that like the 1800s or something when that first stuff happened?
1940.
Okay, so you know what? He could still be alive. This is
He could.
90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could just be the serial killer or whatever, this murderer guy again.
Yeah.
Like, it could be a copycat. It could be, Josh. It could be Josh. We were never explicitly told. It could be anything. And because it could be anything, I think that's a part of what makes this movie so scary, is that they don't tell you.
Yeah.
I love that.
After we watched it, we kind of had our little crazy theories, like, oh, it was Josh all along.
Yes.
He crept out, like, he had things set up. He left.
Yep.
And had that, like, he killed a squirrel or something earlier and used that. And we kind of rationalized, like,
bet.
It was no witch, it was just him all along. He had a thing against Heather, and Mike was in on it.
Yeah. It could have been, yeah, and that's the thing, is it could have been.
Yeah.
Josh, like, it didn't have to be Josh's teeth. We don't even get that good of a look at it. It could have been an animal. We have no idea. Josh could have been the big old bad guy all along. I'm just saying.
Yeah, could have been.
I don't know. I like this movie. I like the unknown factor of it. That's one of the things that makes it such a good movie, I think. It's so different.
And it kind of repaved the way for the found footage genre.
Yes.
I think it was originally done by, Cannibal Holocaust.
Okay.
It's an old zombie movie.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, not zombie. No, not zombie. It was done in kind of a similar way.
Okay.
But it was done so well that they thought it was actually real. People were actually being killed.
Yeah.
So,
Fun.
There was a big lawsuit that went over the whole thing. They had to prove in court that it was fake. The people who were killed in the movie didn't die, actually.
Oh,
they thought it was a snuff film.
Okay.
And like this movie came out and just brought in like that. They revitalized the found footage movies. And
absolutely.
That alone then kind of built off that. You got the Cloverfield.
Yes.
That was a good. I love Cloverfield. People didn't like it because of the shaky cam, but
my mortal enemy.
This is, I think, episode 5 in a row. Shaky cam reference.
Shaky cam's like our unofficial sponsor.
But Chronicle was a good. There's a lot. It really, when done well, it works.
For sure.
When not done well,
you get Paranormal Activity 5.
Yeah, that's another. The Paranormal Activity movies, like they really, again, they took it a step further.
Right.
Where you have security cameras. And they you kept raising the bar. Yeah. Raising the bar. So.
It was a thing. It was, I like found footage movies. They're one of my favorite. Hell House LLC is another one that's on Shudder. That's phenomenal.
Haven't seen it.
You would love it.
I'll have to watch it.
It is. I just watched it not that long ago, and it's about these friends who are setting up a haunted house to make some money. Yeah. And this house is haunted, obviously. Yeah. But it's like, oh my god, it's so scary. It's lots of they walk away and they see these mannequins, and then they turn around and the mannequins have moved. Yeah. Like that sort of a thing. And it's so scary. I think you'd like it. But
another one would be the Fourth Kind. It's kind of found footage, not so much. Okay. I think I talked before about the horrible alien movie, found footage. Yes. Which is all the same thing. Right. There's the Bigfoot found footage movies. Yeah. There's quite a few out there. Some good, some bad. Exactly. But they each have a different feel to them. Yeah,
it takes something special to make it a good found footage movie. I think it's a lot of the unscriptedness. Yeah, that's the thing.
I think but Blair Witch did it best.
Absolutely.
They did it with a cheap budget. Yeah. And it was just really, really well done. Yes. They capitalized on the found footage. It actually happened. Yeah. And it was really good.
Yeah, it was. I agree. And how good did you think it was, Nick? What would you rate it?
Oh, 3.5. 3.5 Horr-Gasms.
Fun.
I'd give it more, but it's as good as it was. You can tell it's dated. You can tell it is. It's it's from the film style, how it's done. There are no special effects. Nope. You don't really see anything. Nope. Which again, that's probably the best part.
Absolutely.
But it was the fact that it's such an iconic movie is the best part of it.
I think so.
That's where most of the rating comes from. And I'm just going to say our executive producer right now is just crawling all over me.
She's done with it.
She is mad. She is upset. I don't know if she liked this movie. I think she gave it 0 stars.
Ichabod, we're getting to the kill of the flick soon.
Because
You just have to calm down.
That's what she's mad about. There was no kill.
There wasn't.
Nothing really happened. She was mad. She is livid.
But I would give it a 3.5 as well.
That's a good...
Yeah, I think that's about where it sits. It's a good movie. I agree with you. I think in this day and age, you need more to be scared. I don't think The Unknown does it anymore. I think, unfortunately, imaginations are kind of on the decline.
This movie would not work now.
Absolutely not.
Sadly.
It wouldn't.
No.
No, it wouldn't do well at all. It wouldn't make any money. People want to be scared. They want to see why they're being scared, and then they want to tweet about it.
Yeah, people want to see the gore. They want to see the creature. They want to see something happen. Not cries in the dark.
Yes.
Or branches cracking.
Yeah.
It would bomb.
I agree.
It would bomb nowadays, which is too bad.
Yes.
But
that this kind of style is lost a bit now. Like even that Hell House LLC, there's a lot of gore in it. There's a lot of gore in it because you have to these days. Yeah. It's more of a recent movie, and so you have to. You have to have bodies hitting the floor and seeing it happen. So, Ichabod, now that you're bothering me, let's do your kill of the flick.
Which there really isn't much besides the last scene of the movie.
Yeah, which was the best scene of the movie, I think. I don't know if we
can really say Mike's death because he gets knocked down, and then you see him in the corner.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna pull an audible because I think we should use Josh's death because that's the one that's the most.
But does he die? We don't see it either. It could be Josh. I'm just saying.
No, but it's
going to be the devil's advocate.
It's implied. It's probably implied that he's dead.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And so you know what? I'm gonna go with that.
But it's also implied that Heather's about to die, right?
But you don't. She gets knocked down.
Right.
I'm sure that both her and Mike die.
Right. Obviously.
I think Josh is the most definite because you see the little bloody bits of him in his cloth. You hear his screams during the night. Was that him? Was it the witch? Who knows?
I mean, if we really wanted to be specific, the kill of the flick could be like the dead rat they find at the beginning.
That's right.
Like doesn't have a head. Yeah. Way too big to be a mouse. Holy man.
That was a big that was a rat.
I don't want to find mice that big. Yeah. Holy moly.
But you know what?
Yeah, it was a good watch.
For the kill flick, it's a whatever.
Yeah. There was enough horror in it that I don't think somebody had to die. I almost, again, would have been disappointed if we would have watched somebody die on screen. It would have taken that out of it because something would have had to kill them.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So I wouldn't have changed a thing.
Good. Good.
And next week, we're going to watch some people die and they live.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
With special guest.
With special guest Jessica.
Yay.
She's going to join us for some creepy sunglass watching extravaganza fun.
Some Roddy Piper starring
some
greatness.
Yes. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good movie. I'm excited for it. Yay.
Me too.
Oh, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. This episode, as always, was brought to you by our executive producer, Ichabod. We hope you enjoyed your Horr-Gasm as much as we did. Please don't forget to rate, download, and subscribe to us. Also, like and follow us on Facebook at Horr-Gasm Podcast, Instagram at Horr-Gasm, and Twitter at Gasm Horror. We're actually going to have a poll this week, hopefully. We're going to do a Christmas special, and we'd love to hear what Christmas movie you'd like to see. If you have a movie you'd also like to recommend or have us review, this is the best way to let us know. We hope to see you again next week because we have such sights to show you. Plenty of Horr-Gasms for you to experience. Bye!